Today we're going to put honey boxes on the hives. We're going to do that, get these bees some space, give them some comb. And a few days ago I was at right by an airport, as you can tell if you hear that airplane. But a few days ago I was out at Honey Hill Farm. It's a location where I manage bees for a friend. And those bees are usually ahead of the rest of my locations, but they were starting to pack the honey in already. I'm not sure what's different about that spot, but they do seem to do it a little bit earlier. So I've already got his loaded up and ready to go. And we're gonna start doing mine today. But before we get started, I wanted to mention the giveaway we're gonna do soon, hopefully very soon, when we hit 10,000 subscribers. We've gained a little momentum the last few weeks, and I really appreciate all of you guys for helping with that. But when we hit 10,000 subscribers, we're going to give away this L'Oreal Bees oxalic acid vaporizer. Rob with the company sent me this, as well as a respirator, the appropriate cartridges, and the little cups, of course, to administer the acid so you can treat your bees. I thought that was very gracious of him, and I think it'll be a tremendous giveaway for whoever is able to win that. So let's get into some bees here. It's a little chilly today for this time of the year. It's been in the 70s, beautiful weather, and today it's like upper 50s, low 60s, and so the bees are not flying much, but it is warm enough to just crack the tops open and put these boxes on top. Okay, so here are the boxes, and if you look closely, you can see that we have some boxes that are pretty much all, foundation. These are Purecro double wax frames. We also have some boxes of drawn comb. I pretty much like to use 9 frames in my honey boxes. The bees actually tend to draw it out thicker. It's easier to harvest. I also think they put a little more honey in those boxes with 9 frames. Most of the 10 frame boxes I have out here, I'm going to at least put a box of comb on there. The reason I want to do that is because the bees will typically just pack out that comb quickly. Drawn comb is extremely valuable. The bees, they don't have to work to build the wax, and they can just put honey in there and store it quickly. So if you want a big honey crop, it's important to try to get that drawn comb established, and then you can use it from year to year for your honey crop. Years ago, Tim Hives, he's a guy that utilizes a 3-deep system up in Illinois, and I did that one year. If you go back, way back, several years ago, I think in 2015, I did a few videos. I established what I call a mega hive. It was a 3-deep system, and I only had one colony that really did it the way that I wanted it to, but he has a bunch of those. Tim talks about the hoarding instincts of the bees. They want to hoard things, they want to pack things in, and so you need to help appease that. And the way to do that, if you put drawn comb in the hives, they want to hoard that honey in that drawn comb. They also have a great desire to build wax. At a certain age, the bees produce wax, and so you want to provide a place for them to do that. So last week when I made splits on most of these hives, there's some foundation in these colonies where I made the splits, so there's plenty of room there for them to build that wax. But then if we put the comb on top of the hives, they'll be able to also store honey. So that hopefully will give them things to do, give them space, give them the ability to build wax, give them the ability to hoard the honey and the nectar, so that hopefully that will take away their desire to swarm. It's not 100%, but it's worked well for me over the years. There's always some swarming that happens. I think some bees just tend to do that more than others. I kind of call it swarmy. There's some hives are just more swarmy. Their genetics or whatever it is. But if you give them plenty of space, give them plenty of things to do, so they have a purpose, typically they'll stay in the hives better than if they're crammed in there and stuffed in there. Most of these 10 frame hives will get a box of drawn comb, and if they're super packed out, I may put a box of foundation on top, especially if it's a colony that I did not split last week. That'll give them something to build. So let's see what we got here. This is a hive, I can't remember, I don't think I made a split in this hive last week. The ones that have red on the front of them, I know I made a split out of them. So there are a fair number of bees in here. Let me just pull out a frame here in the middle. There may be some brood on here, and that's okay. I really expect there to be brood in all the boxes. They're gonna get cranky on me. Dadgummit. It's a little cooler than I'd like to get into them, but it's going to be okay. This frame actually has some brood in it. I can just see there's some honey being put in here. So they are moving up, and I think there's enough bees in here to definitely put a box of comb on top. So I'm going to go ahead and put this box of comb on here. This actually has 10 frames in it, but some of them still need to be drawn out a little bit. So I think that'll be plenty for them, plenty of work for them to do to finish drawing that comb out, and also to fill the comb that's in here with honey. I'll go over to the next one here. Last week, this hive right here was booming with bees. This is the one, I actually saw the queen in here. She was a beautiful dark queen. She was actually in, I think, this top box, if I'm not mistaken. But you'll be able to tell here, this colony really needs to have some more space added. Not sure how well you can tell this, but all down through here is white comb being drawn out. Lots of bees. Definitely need to add some space on there, and they're going to start packing honey in here, I believe. The red tape means I did pull a split out of it, so there's probably some good foundation below. But I'm going to go ahead and put a box of foundation on here, as well as a box of drawn comb. Here's a box of foundation. Once again, 10 frames in this box. The reason I do that is because if you put just plain foundation in there and the frames are too far apart, then they'll tend to draw it out, cross comb and burr comb and stuff in there. However, once they've drawn the comb out, you can decrease it to 9 frames and they won't do that anymore. So here's a box of drawn comb I'm going to put on there. Give them plenty to do. Just going to leave them alone here for a couple of months. May peek in here, but not really going to do a whole lot with them. And we only have 9 frames. Get them loosened up a little bit. I've got this tool that spaces them out properly. Right here, I just think I got it at Man Lake or somewhere last year. Just got to put it in there. Spaces the frames out perfectly so they're even. So you don't have great big old thick comb or too much space in between and not enough in the other areas. Just make sure it's spaced properly. And then we just put the lid on. We let them do their thing. This colony right here, it's not super strong. It used to be, but I'm just going to put a box that has pretty much mostly drawn out comb on here and let them do their thing. It's really amazing when the flow hits what the bees can do. There is some of these aren't drawn out really good, so they got plenty of work to do. And we pulled a split out of this one last week. It was doing really well, if I remember right. This right here is, I think, a brand new frame we put in last week, and if you look at it, you'll see that's what I'm guessing it was. Look at them drawing that comb out already. Isn't that awesome? There's another empty frame over here, just barely starting right there. So what I think we're going to do here is just put a box of comb on here for them to start filling up. And they got plenty of work down here to do drawing out comb. What I'm seeing is I pull some of these honey boxes. I just put like in this one, for example, I just put a frame of empty foundation in here, but the rest of it's drawn comb. So I'll probably put it in the middle. We'll see how that works. There's only 9 frames in here, I believe. And hopefully they'll draw it out. But they'll for sure fill out the other comb, and just kind of an experiment here, I guess. Everything's an experiment with the bees, it seems like, all the time. Starting to find their way up here a little bit. Just can't stress enough how valuable drawn comb is. It's good for honey production. It's good to really give a new split a jump start. If you have some, you can put in a noose. And it's also good for attracting swarms. Just so many reasons to try and preserve your comb if possible, especially in these honey boxes. They will fill it out so much faster if you have drawn comb. So I'm going to go down through here and pretty much just do this. Look at all the Tim framers and see if they need it. Don't plan on putting a lot of foundation on these, probably because we did the splits last week. And so most of them are weakened a little bit by that and have plenty of room to grow from the foundation we put in during the splits. You'll see these colonies are all just a little bit taller. Most of the Tim frames we're ready to add at least a honey box or two on. It's really real hard for me not to get into these splits, so I just am so curious to see how they're doing. But we did them last week, introduced the cells 6 days ago, and you really want to leave them alone for a couple of weeks after you introduce those cells so that virgin queen can get mated good. The virgin queens are very skittish, and if you're not careful you can mess up good things, so it's best just to leave them alone. Tough for me to do, but it's best to do that. Well, I just pulled up here in Slocum, and my goodness, these bees are busy. Just walking around here, these down here are not. These are all kind of splits or brand new little hives right here, but these are some of the splits we did last week. The bees are busy. Once you get up here to the more established hives though, it is so loud out here, it sounds like a dang swarm. They are so busy. So we're gonna definitely have to get these things stacked up, or they're gonna be swarming. And I've split these things, I've done everything I can think to do to try and keep them under control a little bit. It's just nuts how busy these bees are. Even over there, the little splits we made, the new little hives over there, they're all busy. Everything's busy. So we got honey boxes as appropriate on the hives up in Ozark, Newton at the farm, and then down here in Slocum. So the bees have plenty of space, plenty of work to do. Hopefully that will help prevent them from swarming and they can fill these things up with honey. Thanks for watching, guys. That's going to be it for today. Y'all take care and be safe.